Good evening, everyone. So today we are going to continue with our lecture series on fulfilling Parami. If I recap what we have done so far, we have introduced what Parami are, the definition, and what type of mentality we should develop in order to fulfill Parami. Then we also briefly introduced the 10 Paramis, the way of reflecting them, how to develop a mindset to develop them. And then in the last lecture we talked about the Dana Parami, introduced Dana Parami, what types of danas that are involved in Dana Parami and why it is so special. If I recall the 3 types of dana, that is to say Amisa Dana, offering requisites, that also extends to the offering of body parts and even the life, which also encompasses Dana Parami, Amisa Dana. Then there is another type of dana which is called Abhaya Dana, releasing other beings from the suffering or dangers, giving them life, saving them from death. And the last type of dana is Dhamma Dana, that is teaching righteous subjects and also the Dhamma, especially the Buddha's teachings. So in this lecture I am focusing on how do we fulfill Amisa Dana in a way that it becomes a Parami. So in order to be a Dana, a Parami, it has to be given with wisdom. It should be governed by wisdom. It should be taken by wisdom. Therefore, there are various factors that we need to consider before we give dana. That is proper consideration of what is giving, what is being given, and the way of giving, how it would affect the receiver. So these kinds of contemplations are required in order to make the dana wise. Yeah. So first of all, when we are offering to someone, we should be able to recognize the receiver, what type of a receiver he is. Now, and we have to give the respect according to the status of the receiver. For example, if we are offering a monk, there should be some sort of respect because of his high virtue. If we are offering some beggar or someone, we should also have a very pleasant mindset. We should not insult the person, but it is not necessary that we pay respect to such a person or show the respect as we do to a monk. So it's very important that we recognize the actual level of the receiver and do the offering accordingly. If you are offering to an animal, do it accordingly. So that is not to say to give it out of disrespect or without any care. We can still show the care towards an animal. We can speak with good words. We can give it some sort of a pat when you offer the thing. And even to a beggar, we can talk with a pleasant word and wish him good luck and give the money. So still, it's not necessary to respect as giving to a monk. So first is we should recognize the actual level of the receiver and then do the offering accordingly. Then the next most important thing is when we are offering something, we have to completely give up the attachment to what is being offered. That's very vital. We should not keep any attachment towards what is given. The more you keep the attachment, the lower the dana will be. Even you offer something with attachment towards the thing, still it will be a kusala. It will still be a wholesome deed. No doubt about that, no argument about that. But if you have attachment towards it, your dana becomes a bit low. So therefore, we have to make sure that we have given up the entire attachment towards what is being offered. That is very vital. Yeah. So then sometimes it's very difficult to understand whether we have attachment towards the thing or not, whether we have fully given up or not. It's not easy to understand while we are giving. How should we know this? Now, if we start to miss the thing after we have given, that's one way of knowing that yes, something is wrong. We haven't fully given the attachment towards this. Then sometimes we feel we want to find out what happened to what we gave. This also shows that we haven't fully given up the attachment towards what we have given. So sometimes we want to find out what is Bhante doing with what I have offered. Is he using it, or has he given it to someone? Sometimes we feel sad if it was given to some other monk. We feel, okay, I want you to use it. So these kind of attitudes show that we haven't completely given up the attachment. If you have offered something to someone, it belongs to the receiver now. It's not your property. So so what he does belongs to him. It's his thing. So sometimes we may feel like, we may like if Bhante is using my thing, but we should not get disappointed because now it's his. I have completely given it to him. So we should not have these kind of thoughts that where is my thing, the thing I offered. So we have to consider it's now given. It's not my property. I have done my dana. I have done my kusala. So therefore, if we have such thoughts, we have to be careful not to have such thoughts, because so in order to do that, in order to not to have such thoughts, we have to fully give up the attachment and give. Sometimes there is some worse, very bad thought may occur. Sometimes some people may think, okay, I have given this and this to this Bhante or this monastery, but they didn't accept my invitation. They didn't do something. They didn't come for my dana. They didn't come for my ceremony. Sometimes we may feel something like, I have done this and this much to this person, but he didn't repay me or he didn't support me. So if we have such thought, that also indicates it was not, our dana was not complete. Sometimes we may get a thought like, yes, I have done so much, but they didn't do this. Yes, that is a thought that we can have, any wise person can have that thought. But if we get disappointed by that, that's not a good sign, because dana is giving up the thing which belongs to you to someone. So after you have given it up, after you have given it, that belongs to him. We should not have any kind of bondage with that person. We should not feel that the person to whom we have given is bound to us. No. Dana means completely giving up for the other person. It's not like giving a debt. It's not lending something. If you lend an umbrella or a car to someone, the person has to pay back. If we give money as a debt, that person has to pay back, maybe with the interest. Dana is not such an activity. It's a complete giving without leaving any remnant or remnant of expectation towards the thing that is offered. So if someone gets disappointed, I have done so and so to this person or this Bhante, but he didn't do anything in return, that is also an indicator that we haven't completely given up the attachment towards the thing. And sometimes people may even stop giving dana because of such incidents. That is not a good sign at all. So thing is, we should not find out what has happened. Like if you have given something that's given, it's like we should not be tracing what is happening to what we have given. And also we should not be expecting the receiver to pay gratitude towards us. We should not be expecting, even actually in the higher level of dana, like Bodhisattva's dana, even he is not expecting a thank from the receiver. Some beggars accept his flesh and body parts and they just go blaming him. Still he is happy. So in the high extreme level of dana, we should not have any expectation from the receiver. So therefore, It's very important that we completely give up the attachment towards the thing. We should not have any expectation of respect or expectation of paying back from the receiver, even not expecting any gratitude from the receiver. I know it's not easy. It's not easy for a worldling mind, Putujana mind, but that's the attitude that we should at least develop in giving dana. Then another thing, now this is about giving the dana without any expectation or giving completely, giving up the attachment towards the thing. Then another important aspect is we should be very careful about the thing that we are offering. Is it really helpful to the receiver? Is it not harmful to the receiver? Harmful and helpful. We should not never offer something that is harmful to the receiver. For example, we should not give something which is sharp to a child, obviously. Should not give some food or medicine that is inappropriate for a monk or for a sick person. For example, if one of the Bantes have diabetes, should not be offering too much sweet, obviously, right? We have to be careful on that. So likewise, we should not be offering things that are harmful to the receiver. That's very important. Then, and also things that leads for the harm. Maybe, for example, now there is another category of unwholesome offerings which we shall discuss later. Here what we are saying is certain things are not bad. Not bad means in the sense they can be offered as wholesome gifts, but if they are not helpful to the receiver, harmful to the receiver actually, then it doesn't make sense offering such thing. So we have to be very careful and we have to think whether the thing that I'm offering is going to harm the person. So offering a child something that he or she doesn't know how to use and which can harm the person, or offering something that is detrimental or harmful to a person who has a certain sickness. So these are not proper offerings. It's better that we avoid such offerings. Yeah, another way to look into this is, now with this offering, are we causing more disadvantages to the receiver? For example, there's a nice example given in books. Now, sometimes we offer monks, bringing them to homes and so forth. That's a very good thing. But we have to judge, now we have to consider actually what is more beneficial from the monk's side. For example, we bring him very far, many hours, and we just offer the food and some few requisites and we take him back. For the going and forth, it may cost many hours of the monk's day-to-day works. He may be having certain activities for teaching young monks, for his meditation, for his own practice, or maybe to do a repairing in the Sangika monastery. So monks do have their day-to-day activities. For example, if we are making him to spend many hours just for a one meal, which he would have had in his monastery very easily, then we have to consider, are we actually doing something beneficial for the person? So what the point is, when we are offering something, we have to consider, are we actually doing something beneficial for the person? For example, we bring someone for a long journey and it cost him a lot of work or a lot of benefits that he could have done otherwise, and we are offering something very little. Now, if you think it from a business point of view, for example, a business point of view, we would say we don't do that because it's a loss. Now, in terms of spiritual practice or in terms of the practice of a monk or a spiritual person, the devotees have to specially consider this. Then one can ask a question that during the Buddha's time, people invited them to houses and they offered. Yeah, that was a different story. That was a different situation. Those days, monks depended on alms food. So, if someone is inviting to a house, that's a very great opportunity that the monk can go to one house and complete his meal and come back. Otherwise, he have to go from house to house for many hours in search of food. So if someone is offering the meals at a house, the whole meal, that's a great benefit or an opportunity for a monk. So therefore, almost all the invitations were accepted those days. But now the situation is different. For example, in a country like Sri Lanka, so monks mostly have the opportunity to get their meals very easily because the people have come and offering our meals. So if you are going for few kilometers for a one dana, the monk would have easily had the meal and do his practice, do the things for the sasana, what is necessary, and he has to give up all these activities in order just to travel for a long distance to have a meal, which he could have had in his monastery very easily. So this is not discouraging people to give dana, but we have to consider this thing. So we may offer a special dana at our homes on a special day, special occasion, but we have to consider that we are providing the person something beneficial than what he is losing. That's a very important factor. This was mentioned by Chandavimala Mahathera in his book about Paramita, that the devotees have to, because the thing is, the moral aspect of dana means I'm doing something beneficial for the receiver. That is the main idea of dana. So if the receiver is losing something than what he is receiving, so it's something that the devotee, the offering, the person who offers has to consider. Chandavimala Mahathera. Chandavimala. He's very reputed in Sri Lanka. He studied in Burma and a long time before. Yeah. As Bhante Chandavimala states, if the receiver is getting something more valuable to than the thing that he is sacrificing, then it is a good dana. So it always what he is suggesting is, and it makes good sense, because the dana, if the dana is to support the receiver, that we have to make sure that the cost that he is making is lesser than what we are offering him. So if we are making a greater offering than what the other person is losing, yes, such offerings are considered very valuable and very useful to the receiver. So such offerings are always recommended. And from the monk side, there is also a quality called gratitude, something which Buddha has already praised. For example, if some devotee is offering greatly to the Sangha, supporting them continuously, it's a duty of the monks to support them whenever they are in need. Maybe for a lunch at their home, or maybe for a special function. Buddha has said us, has instructed us that monks should go to the houses of devotees as a gesture of gratitude, and also to help them in spirituality, to teach them Dhamma, to accept their offerings, and to give Dhamma, give blessings to them. So from the monk sides, they have to consider about how to kindly treat the devotees in their spiritual aspirations, for their nimons, for their dana, and also for their functions. So it's a duty of the monks, and monks have that gratitude. But what I wanted to say is, now both sides have to have a good cooperation on this. The devotees have to consider that my offering, is it costing monks, is it actually beneficial? And the monks have to consider as that, are we actually showing our gratitude to the person, and so forth. So that kind of understanding should be there. Otherwise, both parties can have some misunderstandings. So it's a monk's duty to treat the devotees kindly whenever they are in need, and also it's the duty of the devotees to understand when to offer and when to invite and how much to invite, depending on the situation where the monk is in. So therefore, it's very important that both parties have a good communication in this regard, especially because dana, offering dana to monks is something very important in the Buddhist life of the Buddhist. And they do have a inspiration that to bring monks to house and do the offerings. So, for example, personally, what I normally do is, so if I am invited for a long journey from IIT, for example, I would say this much time I am spending for this journey, and that would cost the monks education, that I could have spent that time for teaching the Bhantes. So I normally reject such invitations. But I would say if I happen to come to this area, Colombo or somewhere, then I may join to your house and accept your offering. So it shows that in that case, the monks are also not losing as a teacher. I'll be able to teach them properly. At the same time, when the opportunity comes, I will also be able to go to their houses and satisfy their needs, like to offer the monks and to get the blessings. So likewise, there should be a proper communication between the two groups. Only then we will be able to do a fruitful dana. At the same time, monks will also be able to support the devotees with Dhamma. So then another thing is we have to give something actually beneficial. Now think if someone comes and offers us a shirt and a trouser for a monk, that's not useful for us, right? If someone comes to your home and offers you a patta and a robe, that is not useful for a lay person. So actually what should be offered is something that is useful. So that's another thing. So I have discussed, like we should be offering something that is beneficial we should not be offering something harmful to the person. That's one thing. And when we offer, we have to give something beneficial, and we have to make sure that the person is not losing something because of our offering. So we are giving something more than what he or she loses. Then we should be offering something actually applicable to his life, actually useful to the life. So just offering, just for the sake of offering thing, it is a dana. We have to say if you offer something, it's dana. But that dana is not very powerful, because if it doesn't match the person to whom you are offering. So that's another thing that we have to consider. So in that regard, if you are offering to a lady, we have to give something that is useful to her. If you are offering to a man, we have to give something that is useful to him. If you are offering to a monk or a sayale, we have to give something actually useful to the person. So this shows that we are actually considering the benefit of the receiver. Sometimes we have an attitude, I just want to fulfill my kusala, dana, so I give whatever I have, whatever I just can give. No, that's not the way to offer, give dana. Dana, the main aspect is we have to consider about the receiver. That's the main point. It's not about you, it's not about ourselves. It's about the receiver. That's the main idea of this point. With dana, we do lose something. That's why dana is very highly appreciated. Because we are giving something and making the other happier or giving them comfort while we ourselves lose something. So therefore, we have to consider what is actually beneficial for the receiver and give it. So these are called wise dana. Dana, giving with wisdom. So and also giving something that doesn't match to the person can lead to misunderstandings as well, right? For example, if someone offers me a shirt and a trouser, I have problems now. I will start in thinking what was the intention of the person. Does he want me to disrobe or something? You'll think like that. If someone offers a patta and a robe to a layperson, you think, what is he thinking? Does he want me to be a monk? If someone offers jewelry to a man, it can be an insult, that you consider him as a lady. If you offer maybe a razor to a lady, then she can get really insulted. So this can also become something like it can lead to really misunderstandings. So therefore, it's very important that we offer something that's common sense actually. But the thing is, it's not just dana. Jhana is not just giving, that's the point here. It's about the receiver. We have to consider how the person would feel, how the person would perceive this, whether the person will be happy about this, whether he or she can have a misunderstanding about this. So the purpose, the gist of the message is we have to consider the receiver very much. So that's why we have to give something really beneficial and also which actually suits the person. And also offering something the receiver already has is also a certain burden for the person. For example, if the receiver already has the thing, if you are reoffering the same thing, the receiver, right? So it also can be a burden because it's not that much useful. So we have to consider, we have to better offer something the person doesn't have. But in case of like offering money to someone, people would not feel enough because no one feel enough having money, right? So, but for example, think like if you are offering certain things to monks, right? We actually face this problem. Sometimes we get the thing that we already have a lot, and we don't know in the end what to do with this. It's a big problem for us. We just go and put it in the storeroom, and it loads up in the storeroom. No monk is taking such things. So this becomes a huge problem in the monastery. And at the end, Buddha has given us a way that you can exchange these things to something that is useful. There is a proper way of doing that. But then if sometimes monks does that, people get disappointed. They are selling our stuff. So this all leads to a lot of confusion. So it's better that when we are offering, that we have to consider what would actually be useful to the person. So that is very important. Otherwise, because I know Myanmar Sayadaw is very respected, who is a very good Pariyatta teacher. We like to go and offer him because he is a very simple monk. I remember I offered him a torch, and he said, "No, I have it," and he didn't accept it. He completely rejected it. There was no way I could offer him. He's a very nice monk, but he completely rejected. "No, I have it. You offer it to someone else," right? But some monks, what we do is we don't want to hurt the person. We accept it and we just put it into the storeroom sometimes. We don't have it. So likewise, it's sometimes, yes, there are stories that the Venerable Ananda accepted 500 robes from 500 queens of the King Udena. Then Udena, the king, got confused. What does he have to do with 500 robes? One monk. Then he came to Mantre and asked, "Did you accept 500 robes given by my harem, my queens?" He said, "Yes." "And what are you going to do with 500 robes?" And he said, "All the extra robes that I'll keep what is necessary for me, and I'll give it to other monks." "So what happens to their old robes?" Then he said, "Those robes will be used as bed sheets." Bed sheet. Right? What happened to those bed sheets? And he said those bed sheets will be used as carpets. Right? So what happens to the old carpets? So old carpets we will use as something to rub or clean some things on the floor and all, the cleaning clothes. So what happened to the old cleaning clothes? The king was interested to find out. And he said, "Yes, we mix it with clay and we use it for plastering the walls." Then king got really happy. Okay, so whatever offered to these monks will be used till the last moment. But these days the situation is different. We are not going to use robes to plaster the walls, obviously, right? So always we have to consider in this regard what is actually useful for a monastery, what is actually useful for the monk. To be true, as a monk for 17 years, I know sometimes the offerings is the greatest burden that we have. Especially when we go to a foreign country, we get lots and lots of stuff that it's very good. It's very good that we are offering. So it's a good dana. We appreciate that. But it's a very nice thing if we can consider what is actually useful and offer to the Bhante that is important. So as a monastery, yes, there should be some extra stuff because whenever monks come, they should use them. That's very important. But it's always better we think what would be actually useful and try to offer them as much as possible. That is not to deny other offerings. That kind of attitude that we should develop. It's very important. Okay, so the final thing is we should not be offering something that is not appropriate for someone. For example, we have to be very careful on offering, especially with the monk, to the monks. If you are offering something against their vinaya, maybe sometimes gold or jewelry or money directly to them, that would make to breach their sila. That is not a good, appreciated dana. For example, we may offer something allowable for the monk. For example, the allowable requisites. So likewise, always it's called in Pali called kappiyam deti. Kappiyam means that which is allowable for the person, which is would not lead to make him to break the precepts and so forth. And also it's important that we are not offering something harmful like liquor in a party, which is not an actual kusala dana. And also if we are offering weapons to a gangster, yes, it's not a dana actually, it's helping them to accumulate a lot of akusala. So these are called akusala danas. So one has to be away from akusala dana. But for example, if someone offers money to monks and all, this is a kusala. It's a kusala dana, but it is not an appropriate dana. It's an akappya dana. Akappya dana doesn't mean it's akusala, but it's not proper. So therefore we should be able to offer something that is allowable for the person and also that doesn't lead for unwholesomeness in the person. So these are the things that we have to consider in our Dana Parami. So today I talked few aspects of Dana Parami. First is we have to give something that is not harmful to the person. We have to give something beneficial and useful, and we have to make sure that the receiver is not losing more than what we give. And also we need to be careful not to make it a burden for the receiver. And also we should not be offering something that leads to akusala, and also we should not be giving something that is inappropriate for the receiver. Finally, it's also important, if you are giving something, we make sure that we give for the sufficient amount. Like if we invite monks for a dana, we have to give the enough meal. Or we invite someone, if we want to give to a beggar, we will make sure that we are giving something that is sufficient to the person, not just something that's just to fulfill our dana. So when we are giving dana, we make sure that our main purpose is to fulfill satisfy the receiver. So to conclude the talk, so what we have discussed today, offering is giving something that belongs to you to someone. In order to make it a parami, we have to have consider certain aspects. When we offer something, we have to give it without any attachment. We should not regret about it, or we should not expect anything from the receiver. That's very important. We should not get disappointed about what the receiver does after we have offered. We should not relate it to our offering. Offering is something, what he does is something else. That's a very important thing. So we have to give, leaving no remnant of attachment towards the thing that is being offered. Second thing is, when we give something, we have to give something not harmful to the person. We have to give something beneficial to the person and make sure that the receiver is not losing more than what we give. Then we should not be giving, we should be giving something actually beneficial to the person. Not harmful, beneficial, and it means it should be related to the person. Then we should not be giving too much the same thing the person has, because it's not useful. And then we should not be giving something that is inappropriate, should be giving something appropriate. With all these offerings that should be done, as I discussed last time, with the belief or acceptance of the karma and vipaka. I explained it in detail in the previous lecture. And then the final thing, in order to be a parami, we should make sure to make an aspiration that may this merit helps me to attain my goal, liberation. Either to be a Buddha or a Pacceka Buddha or a Savaka, whoever you wish to be, for the attainment of Nibbana. So that's very important. You may have certain wishes for the convenience in the samsara. We shall discuss them later, what sort of wishes that are required, that we should make in our dana to make our dana to be fruitful. But the main aspiration should be towards your goal. That's the liberation that you are aspiring to. So that's how it becomes a parami. So I conclude my lecture and wish you all the best, that may you be able to fulfill your dana parami very well.
Mandami Bante, my name is Patricia. I'll get the Q&A session. Mandami Bante, after we do dana, if we are too busy and don't immediately make aspirations or sharing merits, example 1 or 2 hours or later at night, or we forget and the next day do it, affect the quality of aspiration or sharing merit?
Must be very busy, right? So it's actually it's like this. If you are really doing a lot of merits every day and you have already made a wish to attain Nibbana and your mind is inclined towards attaining Nibbana, even you don't make the wishes all the time, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. So normally as monks, like for example, think about the monk's life. Monk's life is full of kusala, right? You give a Dhamma talk, you clean the Sangika room, you talk with someone, it's also a kusala. So we do offer people, sometimes we throw the things, leftover things, and it can also be a dana to someone, some creature. So there are lots of activities that we do in our day-to-day life, and they are most of them of monks is kusala. So it's not possible for us to like wish all the time, may this help for Nibbana. So it's not necessary actually. It's not necessary. If after a Buddhist have made his aspiration towards the Nibbana and you are doing wholesome deeds, all will be parami. There's no doubt about that, right? So this aspiration is mainly like the people who are now, think about the time that we are not in Dhamma, for a Bodhisattva and so forth. So maybe his mind is not fully fixed on this aspiration. So therefore, when people get to know the merits can bring this and this benefits, if you are just aiming towards the sensual pleasure, then that may divert you away from the spiritual path. But I understand what the question you are asking. So when you are inclined towards Nibbana, your intention is to fulfill parami. Even you don't make the aspirations at every wholesome deed that you do, it will still takes you to a liberation. And it's good that if you can make aspiration 1 hour, 2 hours later, or even at the night, may contemplate all your meritorious deeds. And if you wish, may this be an aspiration for my Nibbana, yes, they become parami. Even you don't make the aspiration, a person who has such a mindset, his wholesome deeds will always be parami.
Sadhu. There's another question, actually a related question from Brother John Marley. After the Dana, for example, one day, 1 week, 1 month for Putu Dana, one is still like monkey and still has kilesa. Even we do Dana with pure intention, but sometimes kilesa rise and they are regret mind. But we know it's bad, and as quick as possible we turn it into kusala mind. Do it affect the dana?
Yeah, the Putujjana mind can change. Even sometimes the Bodhisattva's mind does change after the offerings. But that is not going to affect your dana very heavily. Does it affect? Yes, I have to say it has an effect. You cannot say it doesn't have an effect. But it's not going to make your dana very weak. So thing is, yes, such regrets can happen, and that's obvious. It can happen. So what we have to, as you said, if you easily convert it into the wholesome mind, that is not going to change the entire course of your vipaka. So sometimes people do regret and completely worry about what they have done, like what happened to a rich man called Aputtaka Setti. He fully regretted about his dana, and he thought it's better than offering to this Pacheka Buddha, this monk. I would have offered it, given it to a slave, and he would have served me much better. So therefore, if someone regrets in that level, yes, it's going to completely deteriorate the qualities of your dana. It will downgrade your dana. But just as the question was raised, a thought coming and going, even it happens to us to be true. It can happen. No, it's not a worry. It's not a wonder. So as if you can quickly come back, it means, because what happened in the Aputtaka Setti story was afterwards he completely regretted about his dana. He was like he never had a proper thought, good wholesome thought about what he did. He thought it was a loss to him. So his entire mindset, way of looking into the dana changed, that particular dana. So this is like, because of certain defilements, we may still have some thoughts coming up and down, and we know it's affecting our dana, but we have given is given, and we want the liberation, and we just turn our minds back. Yeah, it's not going to affect your dana very much. So don't worry about that. My suggestion would be not to worry about such thoughts, because otherwise it can be a burden for you. It can actually disturb you. So what I would suggest is always consider that it's a natural phenomena for every putujana, and what you are supposed to do is to contemplate the benefits of dana more and more. So then even such thoughts would not happen in the long run.
Then the third question also related to this. I think this question must have already answered the statement by Pei just now, but it's okay. How long exactly time the effect gone to do aspiration or sharing merit after performing dana, or when we have kilesa like regret after dana will affect into to dana we do, or if we do dana with free roots, even after that has kilesa will not affect the dana we do. Thank you, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Yeah, aspiration, I think I have answered that question. And regarding the sharing merits, yes, think it like this now. Sharing merits is you are sharing the merits with the dead relatives, right? So they must be observing this in order to get the merits. It's like if they are born as animals, or born in the hell, or born in a divine realm and enjoying divine pleasures, they are not going to get any merits. Sharing merits means when you share merits with someone, he or she said sadhu sadhu, and they get the merits. That's the purpose of sharing merits. Even we can share merits with the humans. Like you do a dana and say, okay, I did such and such, my friend did it, oh sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So the person who says sadhu does the anumodana. He or she enjoys it, and we share it. Please take this merit. You are not losing any merit, but you are sharing, and he or she is enjoying. So now think, how would you feel now? If you tell someone that I have done such and such merits many years ago, the person who listens it, yes, sadhu, sadhu, but if the person can see it, if you can see it how the person is offering, then you feel it more, right? When you are sharing the merit, or when you enjoy the merit, rejoice the merit on the spot, it gives more feeling to you. So likewise, the sharing merits, the effect for the relative is when the person sees it on that spot, at the moment. So when we share the merits immediately, as we have done, mostly they observe us, they are seeing us, they are looking at us. Then when we give it and they rejoice, oh, it's shared with us. So they become happy, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thing is, they are not capable of rejoicing merits by themselves. They are not very intelligent beings, right? So when we say, I share this merit with you, they feel very happy and they have a kusala chitta. For that kusala chitta, they get the merits. It's not because of our kusala. It's not like you are transferring some money from your bank account to another. So if you are transferring bank to another person, whether you tell him or not, he has received the money, right? Got it? So and you lose the money. You lose some amount and it goes to the other one's account. That person being aware of it doesn't matter. So transferring merit is not something like that. Transferring merit means the one who receives has to rejoice on it. Only then, he's not getting my or our merit. He or she is getting merits for his own kusala chitta. That is the merit that they are accumulating. So now think, it becomes more powerful because they can have a lot of strong chitta when they see the merit being done on that moment. So normally sharing merits is done on the spot. Normally we make a determination, this merit is done for you and this particular person, if he or she is observing, yes, they rejoice on it. So that's how the sharing merit should be understood. You can share merit, whatever merit you have done, no problem. But the effectiveness is when you share the merit on the spot. Then three-rooted kusala, yes, normally if you are a Buddhist and you know the karma vipaka, whatever kusala you do become three-rooted. Don't worry about that. It's because you know the kusala, right? It's going to be karma sakata because you know its benefit and you know when you are giving something, you are doing something good. So it's a three-rooted kusala. But for example, sometimes our mind is full of kilesas. There are three ways that your three-rooted kusala can downgrade. Not to a two-rooted one, but its qualities can get low. How? One is you regret immediately. Not after a long time, immediately you regret about your kusala. That's going to affect your dana or kusala. Another way to think is, another way of degrading is, you do it with a wrong purpose. You are doing the dana to get something, to get the votes, elections or something. You are doing the dana to become famous, to overcome others, to become a famous person in the society. If someone is giving Dhamma talk to become famous in the world, yes, these are bad intentions, wrong intentions. That is the intention, yes, the dana is low. If immediately regrets, the dana becomes low. Third is, you are occupied with defilements. You are participating in the Dhamma talk, very sleepy. Yes, obviously the quality is going low. You are sitting and doing a meditation session, always nodding your head. Yes, it's a low kusala, obviously. Right? It's not that you are sitting and you are going to get something three-rooted just because of sitting and going in the shrine room and monastery. No, it has to be a pure mind in order to get a real meditation kusala. If you are participating in someone drags you, okay, come early morning and you are very sleepy and you are very upset about it and you are participating in it. Yes, it's a kusala is downgrading. Sometimes you had a quarrel with your partner or with children and you are full of anger and you are coming and giving a dana. If you are able to forget it, yes, that's good. But if your mind is still thinking about what he did and she did and why did he talk to me like that on while you are offering to the shadows, if these thoughts are coming, yes, your dana is going to be low. Right? So these are the three reasons. If your bad intention is there, dana is going to be low. If you regret immediately, your dana is going to be low. If you are occupied with kilesas during the period, yes, the dana obviously is going to be low. Right? So therefore, if we are able to purify our dana in these three aspects, we are very careful with this, yes, it's a very high quality dana. This merit of listening to Dhamma, may all of us be able to attain our liberations, and thank you very much for your moderation, cooperation, and especially for the energetic translation by Sister Mila, and also for the ones who participated in listening to Dhamma, and the ones who invited question and answer session, and also the ones who asked the questions. So may all of you be able to attain your all spiritual wishes as soon as possible. Okay, we shall recite. Idam me punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu Idamme punyang nibbānassa paccayo hotu. Ettavatāca amhehi sambhatam punya sampadang. Sabbe deva anumodantu, sabbe bhuta anumodantu, sabbe satta anumodantu, sabba sampatti siddhya. Idamme nya idang vo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang vo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang vo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Mama punya bhagan sabba sattanang bhajemi te sabbe me samang punya bhagang labantu. Sadhu sadhu sadhu. Buddha sasanang chirantittatu, Buddha sasanang chirantittatu, Buddha sasanang chirantittatu. Sadhu sadhu sadhu.